Hey guys, so Spider-Man. Everyone knows who he is. Even the boomers know who he is. Yup, still making that joke at 2021. Sue me. So since I got that out of the way, people really do care about Spider-Man. They got their favorites, the 90s animation, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films I grew up with and adore. Then there's Iron Man Jr. But there is one that is the Pandora's box. The Spider-Man everyone, for some reason, forgot about. The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films. And why is that? Why do people not like Mark Webb's Spider films? Is it they were doing the complete opposite of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films? Or is it because this Peter Parker rides a skateboard? Yes, that is a real complaint. Or is it because this Peter doesn't wear big glasses, wears a bow tie on, and wears a white button-up shirt with overalls, of course, and talks like a nerd? Chemistry is the best. Like, I'm pretty sure that stereotype never looked or sounded like that, but I will always cherish the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films because I grew up with it. But you know what? I always and will always enjoy the Mark Webb and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films. Yeah, I said it. I think they're better than the MCU Spider-Man films. Oh shit. Now the MCU fans are gonna tell me to drink bleach. But to me, it's true. Tell me the truth, guys. Can you rewatch the MCU Spider-Man films over again? Or would you rewatch the Amazing Spider-Man films? Most people, I'm pretty sure, would pick the Amazing Spider-Man. And why is that? People claim they like the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and that's totally fine, you got your own opinion. But most of those people will not rewatch Homecoming, and definitely not Far From Home. It's because Andrew and Tobey's Spider-Man had to deal with their situations on their own. And that's what makes a superhero great. But with Tom Holland's, he always has a superhero to help him, and it makes it very uninteresting. That's why people like Spider-Man. He's this average guy thrown into rough situations, and he has to think on his own to get out of that situation. That's why people like Batman and Spider-Man the most, because they're average people. But before people leave, let's finally talk about the Amazing Spider-Man. So why do I think the Amazing Spider-Man is great? Well, the first reason is the director, Mark Webb, a very underrated film director that more people need to talk about. Mark Webb at the time of 2011 was a new director. He only made one film, and that film was 500 Days of Summer. A very great take on the rom-com, where it takes the romantic things you're used to and flips it upside down. And it's a great first directorial debut from Mark Webb. So then what? Maybe he'll make a horror film, an action film. No, Sony calls you, and you pick up that phone, and they say they want you as the director of the rebooted Spider-Man film. And what do you say? Of course you say yes. Who would deny to make a Spider-Man film? No one. So now that's a lot of pressure on Mark Webb. He's got to make the fans happy he's got to make the fans of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films happy. He's got to make a Spider-Man movie that will make most Spidey fans real happy. And then he has to make a Spider-Man film people will remember. Now that's a lot of pressure, but you know what? That fucking Mark Webb did it. He actually made one of the best Spider-Man films to this day. So what makes this movie more unique than the others? It's just the human characters. Mark Webb really showed us the humans more than the action. And I really appreciate that more. Because you spend way more time with Peter and his daily life and struggles. You see Uncle Ben just being a great father to Peter and being a caring person to everyone. Then there's Aunt May, who always cared about Peter, but now since the killing of Ben, she has more responsibility on her plate. and it's stressing her out, and she worries about Peter when he's gone all night. You know, Andrew Garfield was a great Peter Parker. I know lots of people say he was a great Spider-Man, but not a Peter. But no, he was great at both. As Peter, he acted like a realistic teenager, where your emotions as a teenager is way higher. You take everything more serious. You think people are against you when they're probably not. But this Peter Parker is very depressed. He still never got over his parents' death. He has no friends. He keeps to himself. But he's very smart and he likes photography before his future job at the Daily Bugle. And I think that's great foreshadowing. But for the people saying, well, we really never see the Daily Bugle, shut the fuck up. All we need is an email from J.J. Jameson, and I'm fine with that. But back to the character of Peter Parker. At his home life, he of course cares about Uncle Ben and Aunt May, but at the time before he's Spider-Man, he feels very distant from them. Yes, he cares and gets along with his uncle and aunt, but there is always that tension because he wonders what really happened to his parents. Why would they leave him and never see him again? That thought is always haunting Peter. But yeah, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker is the most realistic out of all of them because he acts like how teenagers act like. They have high emotions, they're depressed. Oh shit, I'm talking about me. Joking aside. Now Uncle Ben, played by the great Martin Sheen. And he's by far the best Uncle Ben. I'm not saying Cliff Robertson wasn't a good Uncle Ben, because he was a good Uncle Ben, but we really didn't get that much screen time with Cliff Robertson's Uncle Ben. But with The Amazing Spider-Man, it's not until 30 minutes Uncle Ben gets shot. So you get to see how Uncle Ben acts, talks around people. So you get two different sides of the Parker family. One, there's Ben's brother, Richard, who is Peter's father, who is the scientist who really only cares about his work and nothing else. But then there's Uncle Ben, who cares about people. He listens to people. He just wants to be the father to Peter. He really does think of Peter as his own son, and he doesn't want Peter to fall into the trap Richard was working on. He wants Peter to have a normal life, not a life of conspiracy like his brother Richard. You might be thinking, damn fool, talk about Spider-Man. Well, calm down. It will be soon. But that's what's so great about Mark Webb's direction. He really focuses on the human elements than the action. And I think it's better. I know, weird, but let me explain. So when you spend more time with the characters, you see how they act, how they learn from their situations, you connect way more to them. And when there is action, you're on the main character's side the whole time because you spent a lot of time with that character before that action scene. You know, we don't get Peter as Spider-Man until 50 minutes. And before that, after Peter gets bitten by the spider and he witnesses the murder of Uncle Ben, it traumatizes him. He has guilt. He could have done something, but he didn't. So after Uncle Ben's death, Peter is angry. He has that guilt. So he makes a homemade suit and he tries finding the killer. He's enraged with anger. When he tries finding the killer, he wants to find him. When he tries finding the killer, he wants to find him so he can bring justice to Ben and have Ben be proud of him. And I know lots of people have a problem with the car stealing scene. I mean, Spider-Man is making meaner jokes and acting like a jerk because he's still angry. And him making jokes at criminals is helping him. And I mean, he's also a teenager, and teens are automatically mean. But it's not until the bridge scene that Peter becomes the Spider-Man we all know. So the lizard is born and he wreaks havoc on a bridge. He tosses over cars, so Spider-Man saves people from the falling cars, but he also saves a father's son. And that's when he realizes finding the killer is not worth it. Ben wouldn't want that. He would want Peter to protect the people and stop criminals from taking lives. And that's when Peter thinks about Spider-Man a totally different way. I do think more people are realizing that Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, and the first Amazing Spider-Man is freaking amazing, no pun intended. But it's great storytelling all the way, and it's the most unique Spider-Man film, and most people don't realize it. So before I go, please follow me on Twitter. It's Jaden Tiff on Twitter. And subscribe. This video was great, and it was great to make, and I'm pretty sure you guys enjoyed it. So subscribe, like the video, and share to other people so more people can watch this video and discover this great channel. Yeah, subscribe. You guys are awesome. And yeah, follow me on Twitter. It's Jaden Tiff on Twitter. See you guys. Peace.